Now, it's time for the Anchorman podcast with Dan Ball and Riley Lewis.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Anchorman podcast here in the beautiful One America News studios. Big thank you, as always, every week as we kick off this episode to Robert Herring and the Herring family and the Herring Family Network at OAN for giving us a platform, not only the political talk show that we do 5 nights a week, but something like this, where at the end of the week, we can unwind, relax for an hour, highlight one guest about their amazing life. I just love this platform. Not to mention, it's so much nicer to chill out, sit on a set like this, casual and relaxed, and not have to be in the suit, so stuffy, and talking politics all within 1 hour with, 4 or 5 different people. I just love this platform. You probably noticed I'm alone this week. Our good friend Riley Lewis, who usually joins me, take the wide shot, my friend in the back, over there, is not here tonight. He's on vacation. Greatly deserved. So Riley, make sure you have some fun. Be safe out there. So we're going to get to the guest right away tonight, because this guy, I met him and we started chatting, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago. And I was intrigued by him for several reasons. One, I loved his merch. I mean, his shirts and his hats and just everything that he makes with his company. And I'm sure you've heard of it. If you haven't, you've probably been under a rock the last several years, especially if you're in the America First MAGA movement like me, or you're just a red-blooded, constitutional loving American and you like your freedoms. You probably know a guy named Whalen from Lions Not Sheep. Whether it's the merch, whether it's his own podcast, whether it's his speaking engagements, whether it's his Lion's Den. He does a lot of motivational speaking, bringing men and women together, especially men, trying to encourage them to just be better human beings, right? Better businessmen, better fathers, better husbands. And the guy's just got grit and spit, and that's why I like him. He's gone through all kinds of trials and tribulations, like myself, like many of you out there in his life. He's lost businesses and lost families and lost money, and just keeps coming back and fighting and getting bigger and better every time. And so I thought it would be great, since I didn't have my partner in crime along with me tonight, to bring a guy on that I know can carry this podcast all by himself, because he does it weekly on his own stuff. And so without further ado, let's bring on the founder, the creator, the boss man, the presidente over at Lions Not Sheep, my friend, Whalen. Sean, how you been, brother?
Great to be here, my friend. I love the intro, the grit and spit. I'm here for it.
Well, you and I have been talking about doing the podcast, since I launched it in January, February here at OAN. You've been on the talk show multiple times over the last 3 or 4 years, but I like this segment, or this format, because when you come on the talk show, usually it's political, as you know, and usually it's 5 to 8 minutes. And I don't think people get to know our guests that well. You get to know an opinion on a subject matter, but you don't really get to dig in. So what I like to always do at the beginning, because we've got about 50 minutes left to sit here and chat with you, Sean, is get background. Who's Whalen? How did he get his start? Because I know I've seen clips on your pages, and by the way, go follow him. It's either his name, Whalen, or Lions Not Sheep's his company name. You've not always had it as easy as it looks online to all of us now. Because right now, it looks pretty sweet. I'm not gonna deny it. You got, look, you're about my age. You're in great shape. You got a beautiful kids. I heard you're a grandpa now. Congratulations. You got a big, huge company. You got a big following. You're out there motivating men. You've written books. But it's not that easy to get there. So back up, and let's start with, where did little Sean grow up? And then we'll get into those trials and tribulations. Don't take us to Lions Not Sheep yet. We'll wait for that. Fill us in, Sean.
I grew up back east. I grew up just outside of D.C. If you live outside of the Beltway, my dad worked for the government. So this is when D.C. was really small. And so I spent most of the year there. And then my grandparents lived up in New York City. So I would go up to the Bronx and to Far Rockaway every summer when school got out. So I'm an East Coaster at heart, and grew up just a little hustler, man. I was a little kid who went door to door, knocking on everybody's door saying, "Can we mow your grass for $5?" And they'd say, "Sure." And I'd keep $3, and then I'd hire my little friends to go mow the grass. And my philosophy then was we all have money when the ice cream truck rolls through the neighborhood. So, grew up in a single parent home, grew up Irish Catholic, and just always had that hustler mentality, hustler spirit. And Really enjoyed kind of the East Coast vibe. It's interesting when you meet people from the East Coast, they don't really get offended very often. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're super sharp, they're super straightforward. So my heart has always been a city kid. And as I've gotten older, really grown to love the country and bought a big ranch a couple years ago. And
Hmm.
so I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit ever since I was 22 years old. The last real job that I had that, had a paycheck was back when I was 22. So really for the last 25, 26 years, I've been cutting my teeth in the entrepreneurial world, following my insanity and all the ideas and the passions that I have. And I really, truly, people say like, what regrets do you have? I really don't have any because everything that I've done, everything I've experienced, like you said, the highs, the lows, making money, losing money,
Yep.
divorce, bankruptcy, the whole thing has taught me invaluable life lessons. And so, sitting here at 46 years old with three amazing kids, a daughter who's married, who's made me a grandpa now. She had a baby 7 months
You're
ago.
younger than me and you're a grandpa. I love it.
Being a grandpa, it's like my life is really it's really good, man. It's really
Love
freaking
that.
good. I'm really truly grateful for life. And maybe it's the age, maybe it's getting older, it's the mortality of things. You're starting like getting closer to being dead than I was, 10 years ago. But I really love life, man. I really enjoy my life. I love the people I'm around. I love what I get to do. I love that I get to just have platforms like this where we get to have conversations and share our stories and
Yeah.
help people win. So I'm really blessed, man.
Well, you help and motivate a lot of people. Let me back up to a few things I heard you say, and then again, we're going to get into this amazing new life you've built and created. Again, that has had its fair share of trials and tribulations, but as you said, and I've always heard people say, come on, you can't appreciate the good times if you don't go through some hard times, right?
For
You
sure.
got to have hard times. Plus, that's life. Life's a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
And in this country, I always go back to something my buddy, country singer John Rich said, that's in, I think, the preamble, and it's about that we're guaranteed the pursuit of happiness here. You're only guaranteed the pursuit. You're not guaranteed happiness. You might have 10 years of hell and then 5 years of good and 20 years of hell. Like, you're not guaranteed anything unless you go out and get it. And I feel like that's always been you, whether we're talking in private or I'm seeing a video or I'm watching a clip of you talk to your Lions Den at your motivational speaking events. I feel like you're one of those guys. So single parent, I can relate. You and I'm about 51, you're about 48, 49, so about the same age. You were East Coast, I was Midwest, I was Ohio. Single parent, mom or dad raised you?
Single mom, raised by a single mom.
Same thing, single mom. We had to move in with grandma. Mom had to work, grandma had to raise me. So not a big father figure in the life. Went in the military right away, which was a lot of my, background as far as getting that more, how should I put it, manly education was from that. And it also makes you grow up really, really quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so East Coast, single mom. What's some of the first jobs Sean Whalen has back in his early 20s before he decides, I think I'm going to go be an entrepreneur. I don't want to work for anybody. I don't want to be the help anymore.
I used to work for the Marriott Hotel. I was a PBX operator, which was basically like when you call the hotel, they answer the phones and they transfer you. And this is right out of high school. And I was a troubled kid. I was a super pissed off teenager. And I started to work my way up there. I went from that to like the bellman. And I love people. I love engaging with people. I love to talk to people. And so being able to be in the hospitality industry, you're working with people and talking to guests and the whole thing. And I had this vision where I was going to go become a general manager. I was like, you can manage these hotels and you make 130, 140, 150 grand a year, you get great income. And that was really my goal and my target. And I ended up going on a Mormon mission, and my mom was Mormon, my dad was Catholic. And so coming out of the troubled teenage years, I was living with mom and was kind of like, I'm tired of smoking pot and being an idiot. Like, I'm going to try this God thing out. So went on the Mormon mission, came home, and I was dead set on that. And it was like, I ended up working my way up into sales and being one of the sales managers for the hotel. And I was one of the best there. I was setting all the records. I basically outsold everybody. I made our entire annual quota for all four sales guys myself. And to make a long story short, I wanted my boss's job. And so it was one of those deals where I was like, look, I went to my boss's boss and said, look, I'm the best here. I deserve the job. I want the job. And I'm not very political. I don't really, hide the emotions and stuff. I said, this is where I want to go and what I want to do. And my boss didn't like that and fired me. And I'll never forget, as long as I live, I remember I had just bought my first house, had a brand new baby. My daughter was my oldest. And I remember getting fired from that job and leaving and driving to a cemetery. It happened to be a cemetery, but it had this really great vista of the valley and the mountains. And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, I can't work for somebody. Like, I can't do this. I feel like I'm literally being held back. Like, I'm really good at what I do. And that kind of became the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. I started selling insurance. I sold cars for a while and kind of bounced around, and then found mortgages and started making a lot of money in mortgages, and then real estate. And fast forward, and that's really been kind of the antithesis and the beginning of my journey.
What was the point? I remember you saying, whether you and I talked about it or it was a video or one of your speeches, something. You had a BK though when you were a lot younger during your first marriage and stuff that almost wiped you out, and you were like, how am I going to recover? You obviously did. Look, fast forward. Take us back to that point. How did that happen? And how did you get yourself out of that rut? Because I can tell you, after having to do it myself as well, and it's, it used to be something so shameful. You never want to talk about it. Don't tell people you had to file a BK. It's disgusting. Well, let's be real. With the way that the economy over the last decade or two has gone, and with the risks a lot of us guys like to take, it can become more common. Plus, you go through a divorce and the other side wants to, and whatever. Sometimes that's what your lawyers tell you to do. So take me back to that point, because I'll bet there's a lot of, especially men watching, maybe younger men, that are in the middle of that, right? Maybe their business is failing. Maybe they just had to file BK, or they're considering it. And they're like, there's no way I can't do it. I will never recover from that. And Sean Whalen says,
yeah, you absolutely can. I made a ton of money in my early 20s. I mean, when I kind of figured out that I could do this on my own, I could build my own things, I started a mortgage company, which ended up becoming one of the largest privately owned mortgage companies in the state of Utah. We were killing it. I'm in my early 20s making, tens of thousands of dollars a month, parlaying that into real estate. I started buying properties. I started investing in properties. And then I started developing. And I just went super big, 2005, 2006, 2007,
and then
leveraging, going, building, getting bigger. And then 2008 rolled around. I had personally guaranteed millions of dollars worth of loans. We were doing tons of really cool projects. I was working actually with, Trump on a project and doing a golf course development down in southern Utah. And 2008 basically just clipped everybody.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where I spent about a year with that same mindset, like, dude, I can't do this. BK's like for losers, and I'm going to fight my way out of this. And finally I had one of my lawyers, he called me, he's like, look, man, this isn't like you're trying to go bankrupt over a Nordstrom's charge card. Like, this is big stuff.
Yeah,
These
serious
are deals. This is millions of dollars of real estate. The banks have backed out. Like, you're not going to be able to dig your way out of this. And it was hard, man. It was super hard, because one day you're in the newspapers for being this young, brash, successful guy building these projects, doing these deals. Mm-hmm. And the next day it's like, oh, he's a freaking scam artist and he's going through bankruptcy and all this other bull. And it was really hard to figure out that this was part of the learning experience. And I think a lot of people go through this. I mean, when you get your wings clipped, when you get kicked in the face, there's a lot of shame in that. You're kind of like, why didn't I see this? Why didn't I know? I should have known better. I could have, I would have, I should have. And I think that's the real cool part of the invitation of learning, is you can either blame it on other people or say, look, I bet big. I don't regret betting big.
No.
Like, I liked betting big. I wanted to bet big. I just bet it the wrong freaking time. I mean,
but you learned a valuable life lesson.
Experienced it. Every business owner's experienced it. I'm going to scale. I'm going to grow. The market takes a dump. Whatever. So it took me a couple of years to really get my head on straight. And I had some good people around me that were like, look, man, you had to this is something that really changed my mindset quite a bit when I was young, which helped me have even more audacity in growing as an entrepreneur. He's like, you had to make the millions to lose them.
That's a great, you know what?
And it kind of shifted my mindset, where there was a lot of people like, oh, you're going bankrupt, you're this. And I'm like, yeah, I lost millions, but I made the millions to begin with.
Yeah. And
so as I started focusing on that.
What big a portion of Americans hope, pray, wish for it all the time, even though money is not the only thing in life. You and I know that, right? It's your health, your family, God, and a lot of other things. But again, you made it in your 20s. There are millions of Americans who have for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years tried to make that $1 million and say, I'm an American millionaire entrepreneur, and they never get there. You did it in your 20s. Okay, so that's 08, and that's totally understandable. I get you. 08 to 10, owned a couple properties, investment in my own in Southern California. Lost all those, got a divorce, and lost my brother. So I get you, brother. I get you. It was a rough couple years, '08 to 10. Okay.
Well,
So
you had to figure out your way out of it, and you
yeah,
know that. You
yeah,
had to figure it out. And I think that's the real cool part of the story, not just yours, not just mine, but millions of others. It's like, cool, man. We don't build statues to the dude that got his ass kicked and stayed down.
that's
Like,
right.
we don't give about the movies of the guy who got beaten and then disappeared. Like,
Right.
we want the Rocky, we want the Apollo
That's
story.
right.
That's like what people look at. So for me, it's like, all right, cool. I got kicked in the face. Now what?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
Totally get
that's
it.
been really the trampoline, the catapult for me to go even bigger. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, see, and that's one of the reasons I'm going to have you on to tell this story, because I feel like, especially right now, and I know you don't like to get political, and good on you, but it's my life because that's all I
I
do
love
every
talking
day.
about politics, bro.
Yeah, I know. But I will just say this: the last 4 years of the previous administration, a lot of Americans and American men and businessmen obviously took a hit, and as you said, a punch to the face. And so I felt like having you on right about now, as things are starting to turn the tides with the new administration, and there's still a lot of struggle out there, inflation and higher prices, but there are some good things happening. I feel like there's probably a lot of people who got screwed over the last few years, who are suffering, who probably had to file a BK, who went through a divorce, whatever, everything you and I have gone through. And I'm like, Sean's a great guy to come out and just for an hour go, stop sitting around and sulking, and here's how I did it, and you can do it too. Okay, so let's fast forward. So now we're talking '08. In the last 17 years now, you have created a name brand, and probably one of the most kind of loud, outspoken voices for entrepreneurial spirit in America that I can think of, next to, there's obviously the couple big guys like Tony Robbins and the rest of them, that's all they do is motivational stuff. But you build a name brand, you build an online social media presence, you built these speaking engagements. So now let's go from '08 and get me up to 2025 with how you came up with Lions Not Sheep and then everything else that you built into this brand name. Because it's not like you're just selling hats and T-shirts. Right. You do a heck of a lot more. So take me from 8 up.
I spent a couple of years after the bankruptcy, and I ended up going through a divorce, trying to figure out why I was here. Right. And on a spiritual level, I mean, I'm very much a believer in God and have a very strong connection to God. I was really in this place where I was like, all right, cool. I'd made millions of dollars. I kind of figured this part of the game out. I had the house, I had the car, I had the family and the whole thing. Like, why am I really here? And so for me, it kind of became a quest of like, why is Sean on this giant rock that's spinning through the cosmos, right? It's not like after the bankruptcy, it was like, well, how do I make money again? I already knew how to do that. And so it became a very personal, spiritual journey for me, where I had been religious most of my life, but I'd never really been spiritual. And so I kind of closed all of the books. I closed all of what everybody had taught me. And I went like, Jesus went out in the wilderness 40 days, 40 nights. I just was like, I'm going to go on a quest with God and like figure this out. Like, why am I really here? It's not just to make money and to buy cool cars and to have cool, like, there's got to be something bigger. And for a couple of years, it was like this quest of what's going on. And one day, I was doing real estate and I was still, successful in that. These three words came to me: Lions Not Sheep. And it just popped into my brain. And it was one of those things, how something hits your brain and you just can't get rid of it. And you're like, it doesn't make any sense, but it's brother. Like banging. And I ended up writing it on my bathroom mirror. I just wrote Lions Not Sheep. And it wasn't anything. It was nothing more than 3 words that were on my bathroom mirror. It wasn't a T-shirt. It wasn't a hat. It wasn't a coaching company. It didn't exist other than in my brain. And for almost a year, it was just my mantra. And it was something that was really personal to me, that I started literally looking at my life saying, all right, I did everything I was supposed to do. I checked all of the boxes. What's success? Having a good income, having a family, having all of these things. But why was I so unhappy? Why did I go through this experience? And so,
what was your mission in life? What's your purpose? Being a veteran,
like, why was I really
what's
here?
Your mission in life? To me, it's about a mission.
Totally. Why was I here? And it really started to click for me that I had lived most of my life as a sheep. I did what I was told to do. I was raised, this is, if you do this, you go to heaven. You do this, you go to hell. This is good. This is bad. This is happiness. This is sadness. And like, I'd never really gone out on my own as a man to venture out into the world to figure out, like, who the hell am I? Why am I really here? And that's what started it all. And so for over a year, it was just my own personal mantra. And one day, I'm still doing real estate. I'm clawing my way back from bankruptcy and the whole thing. I called my buddy who owned a T-shirt company. I was like, hey man, I want to make this into a shirt. How do I make shirts? How do I do this? And he's like, well, go to fonts.com, pick out a font, tell me what you want and we'll put it onto a shirt. So I went to fonts.com. I picked out the font that Armalite font, what you see here. And
Yeah.
I sent him an email. I said, here's what I want. And I want it to just look like this. And so the very first black t-shirt that just said Lions Not Sheep, we call it the OG. I paid him for the screen. I paid him for the shirt. It was $40 and went and I picked it up and I was like, this is great. And in that process, I started sharing my stories on social media about my divorce and my frustration and the fears. And I ended up sharing about 12 years ago a post that went viral. And I talked about my divorce and how heartbroken I was and how angry I was and how bitter I was. And that was really the turning point for me where I realized this post ended up reaching millions of people. I went from like 500 followers to 50,000 followers in just a few weeks. And my inbox, all these people going, dude, you figured it out. How'd you do this? Like
people could
I'm
relate.
like, whoa.
And you said
I'm
it.
like, what are y'all talking about? Like,
Right.
I just shared with you that I was an during my divorce. Like,
Yeah, but
I'm not
most
Dr.
men,
Phil. Why are you
Sean,
asking me to like teach you?
You know, most men are, I mean, let's be real. Old school
They don't.
dudes. I'm not talking about the new,
Yeah.
little soy boys. I'm talking
Yeah.
about old school dudes that are, I'd say about late 40s and up.
Yep.
There's things we don't talk about, right? You don't talk about certain things in public. You
Yep.
don't, but I feel like nowadays there is this acceptance that if you come out and you talk about something and you describe the pain you went through, but how you rose above, you used God obviously in your life. He helped direct you. That's why you grew. It wasn't because you were saying something new that people had never heard before. It's you said it out loud on social media.
Right.
I'm sure that
And
a lot
it
of
was my
guys
truth.
felt it here and heard it up here, but they
Yeah.
never put it out here to anybody. We'll keep it in. My wife yells at me all the time, you don't talk enough about this, that, and you make a living talking. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know, honey, I'm old school.
Right.
Sorry, I keep stuff bottled down. She's helping me to talk more about it, but
Right.
I get it. So something you said I want to key in on. You were looking for your purpose. You turned to God and God's word, and you got that light bulb. I feel like, and this is the same thing that happened with me, brother. I was, after the military, I was a broadcast journalist in the military and the Air Force. I got out, I got into commercial television, started as a camera guy, reporter, anchor, then a news director, and I was working my way up, I thought, to like Fox News and millions of dollars and big and famous like Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson and all these guys, right? I'm gonna make millions. And then I decided to run for Congress to make a difference, got my butt kicked, and then couldn't get back into the business that I've been doing since I was 18. And then I started praying a lot more, talking to God a lot more. What am I supposed to be doing? Because for 20, almost 30 years, I was chasing that bigger paycheck, that bigger audience, and that bigger name and title. And when I started seeing what the country was going through in 16, when Trump came on the scene, and I watched my profession, the media, lie to all of us and turn a bunch of people, Sean, into sheep, I went, oh no. Not on my watch. That's when I ran for Congress in 17, 18, lost in 18, couldn't get back in the business. And when I had the opportunity 5 years ago to come here at OAN, one of the smallest networks out there that doesn't pay a bunch of cash like the CNNs and Foxes of the world and whatever, I looked at my then fiance, now wife, and I was like, God's telling me this is what I got to do. We got to speak truth to power. We have to tell the truth because 98% of the media is lying to the American people and the world. And so who cares about the money? Be damned with that. To hell with all that. I don't care anymore. And let me tell you, when you start believing and putting everything in his control, you get that discernment, right? Like I can point to things in the last 5 years and I'm like, honey, I made this call. I didn't even question it. How did I do that? He guided me. That's where you got it from, brother. I truly believe that. You started talking to him. You didn't know what your purpose and mission was. And he gave you those words. And then he gave you the discernment to push forward. Anyway, that's my little Christian rant because I am so sold on we've got to get more strong men in this nation to talk about their faith because we've got to get more warriors, more lions that aren't afraid to talk about their faith so we can save this republic because we got invaders from all over the place. And no, I don't just mean the border. I mean just everything. The devil is hitting this nation and we need the men of this nation to stand up for our girls. So get the guys out of their bathrooms, stand up to the criminals in our neighborhoods, stand up to, you know what I mean? The drug pushers, everything. Men need to do that. So anyway, sorry for the rant. you get that idea, you print that first shirt. Now we're up to about what, 2010, 15 years ago, maybe?
About 2013-ish.
13.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only 12
Give or
years.
take.
Okay. A lot's happened to you in 12, 13
Yeah.
years.
It's been wild, bro.
Yeah. So when did you go, I'm not doing real estate, I'm not doing any of that anymore. This lions not sheep thing is me. And then we can expand from there, because obviously you grew it from one t-shirt to a little empire for yourself, brother, and good on you. Fill us in.
I was investing in a bunch of different houses, and I was, like I said, really successful in doing that. And I made that t-shirt, and as my social media was growing, I posted a picture one day, and I had that shirt on, and I got a DM from a guy, and he's like, "Hey man, I love that shirt. Where do I get it? How do I get one? Where'd you get it?" And I was like, "Well, I made it." So I called my buddy at the t-shirt place, and I said, "Hey, some dude wants to buy a shirt. Like, how the hell do I sell him a shirt? Like, I don't sell shirts." And so for almost 2 years, you used to go to his website, frescopress.com, and there was just a little teeny lion tab, and you'd go there, and there was, you could buy the shirt. And about 2 years after that, I was sitting down with a buddy of mine who was a big real estate investor, and I said, "Look, man, I'm done with the single family homes. I own over 100 of them. Like, I want to start getting into multi-units and buying apartment complexes." And I'll never forget it as long as I live. He looked at me, he's like, "You're here asking me for guidance, right?" And I said, "Yes." And he's like, "Let me tell you something." He said, "You need to ride the wave." I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Lions Not Sheep is blowing up. People love you. Your messages are exploding. You have all these people that want to work with you. You need to jump on this. You need to take advantage of this." Because I was making money in real estate, but I wasn't as passionate about it as I used to be. And when he said that, it clicked. And that's where I went all in. And I started the coaching group, and we grew that from literally the very first person, over 50,000 people have come through my coaching group. I wrote a book. I've been on stages and the whole thing. And it exploded. Like, when I went all in with it, like you said, the purpose, when I realized, like, this is why God gave me the megaphone of social media. He had these posts go viral. I went from that to over 3 million followers across multiple platforms. My videos were going viral. My posts were going viral. I was super outspoken. I was sharing my heart. I was sharing my soul. I was sharing what I was learning. And it just absolutely exploded. I mean, to this day, it's really, I don't think very many other coaches, if any, have done this, but I've never run an ad for any of my coaching. So to have 53,000 people join a coaching group, I mean, Tony Robbins spends millions of dollars. And again, I'm not Tony, but like, to put in comparison, the voice, the message, the things that I was sharing just resonated so deeply with people. And I was so in line with it that it was just my passion. It was what was coming out of me, and it exploded. And then in 2020, COVID rolls around, and we went from just kind of selling a dozen t-shirts a month organically to me saying, "I think we have something here. Like, I feel like we should turn this on and like make a legit apparel company out of this." And we turned it on, and I mean, we went from 10 grand a month organically to, I started hiring people, and we were doing 6 figures a month within 30 days. And we ended up having our first $1 million month within 6 months, which is unheard of.
No, yeah, that is wow. And in the merch game, that is amazing. Unless you're tied to like a national franchise or something, right?
Yeah.
To sell
no
that
investors, no anybody.
Right.
I owned 100% of it. I bootstrapped it, and it exploded.
That's amazing. Okay, so that was 10 years ago. In 15, you did 2 years, you were using that guy's website. So then for 5, you're selling and doing good numbers. But then when the pandemic hit and people were being lied to and people were going, "Wait a minute, maybe I better wake up and not be a sheep," you think that is probably what also helped, besides your charisma, your posts, your outspokenness, everything about you that built this up. But do you think too that the timing, again, thank you guy upstairs, big guy, the timing of everything, Sean Whalen putting out this message of don't be a sheep, be a lion, and people are at home locked away, and then figure out within a few months, let's be real, we all kind of knew by summer of 2020, definitely by 21, that a lot of the stuff they were telling us was BS. And you're telling people, don't be a sheep, don't buy it, whether it's about COVID or life, be a lion. That probably didn't hurt sales, did it?
Oh, dude, I did a post in March of 2020.
When we locked down.
Going viral. And I said, "Coronavirus is a scam. You all are being duped." And it ended up going viral. And this was like the beginning of it. And I was the guy, I never put a mask on.
Me neither. I got yelled at. I
I
almost
was
got
so
arrested.
outspoken about this, and I was so fiercely connected to like, I'm not buying into this, period. I don't give a what anybody says. I don't care what happens. And I think that really helped because there were a lot of people that felt the way you felt and felt the way I felt, but they just didn't have the audacity to say
Right.
it. So here
That's the
it was
problem.
like, as my confidence was growing and I was building and Lions Not Sheep was growing, and it was just like this, all of the stars aligned in 2020. And I was like, dude, I'll grab the torch and run with it. And you get guys like Andy Frisella and me and other guys that were, running out and talking about it. It just exploded.
Yeah.
And the apparel company exploded, my coaching company exploded, and it was kind of like all of these people that were like, no, I'm not buying into this, like converged around me and the message and what we were doing. And it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible.
Sometimes all you need is that simple message that can
Yeah.
literally just shock people to their core, wake them the heck up, and
Yeah.
change their life. And you came up with it with a simple slogan that I'm going to tell you, God delivered to you, brother.
100%.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Okay, so the last
it
5
was-
years. Yep, go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say it was really cool because, like, you and I connected in that period of time.
Yeah.
I connected with a lot of different people,
That's
and
right.
it was really fun because I got to witness a lot of like the birth of a lot of other brands, a lot of other guys who started to rise. And, I've been spoken on the stages and been with a lot of these guys, but I think it was a really cool tipping point where a lot of people like you, I mean, you were catching crap. I was catching crap.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you going to stand on your principles or not? Are you going to be a lion? Because the truth is, it sounds simple. People ask me all the time, they see the brand and they're like, Lions Not Sheep, what does that mean? And my answer is the same every time. I say, what do you think it means? They're like, well, to be a lion, not a sheep. And from a really just simple reality of like what human nature and animals are, a lion does whatever the hell it wants to do. When it wants to eat, it hunts and it kills. When it wants to sleep, it goes underneath a tree and nobody screws with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where a sheep does everything that it's told. And I think it really just caught on with people that were like, these three words became an ensign of sorts. It was like a motto that just people, it was so easy and simple to latch onto. It wasn't complex. I wasn't trying to get everybody to change their entire life. It was like, you got a choice. Be one or the other. Like, I don't give a crap. Just pick. And it became really, really fun for me to kind of have this megaphone, if you will, to really share my journey and where I had been and what I had experienced over the last, decade, 2 decades, kind of in this one moment in time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. The Bible talks about it all the time, right? You got shepherds out there that are watching the flock, and you got the sheep. And the sheep are the majority, the masses on the planet. And there's good shepherds out there and prophets. And there's talk of, picking up the righteous sword of God and being one of those leaders. And so, yeah, you're either that or you're this. And it makes a lot of sense, too, in the timing. In that, if we go back 10, as you said, to 15, when you were really cranking it up, and then 5 years ago is when it exploded and you went all solo, not use your friend stuff anymore at all. I'm sitting there and thinking, going, okay, what was going on in the country? What was going on in the mindset of American men? And I would attribute this to you too, besides men. I think you've pushed and encouraged a lot of women and younger people of both sexes as well, because I see gals wearing your stuff all the time, just almost as much as guys. So bravo to you, because you can be a lioness too and not a sheep. But I feel like, you had what we witnessed in 2016 with the election and people realizing, okay, the media lies to you, politicians are corrupt. I mean, we knew that for decades, but let's be real. 16, 20, and then again in 24, the last 3 elections, I think the country has learned a lot about how nasty, corrupt, and full of what the media and politicians are. And I feel like when voices came out like yours, like others in the America First movement and this patriotic movement that we're all part of, I feel like that gave way for more Americans to say, I feel you. I might not be a lion right now, but hey, maybe now I'll speak up at the PTA meeting, or I will post that thing on Facebook I worried was going to upset the Johnsons next door, or I will say this at work and not to hell with if I get fired for it. So I say bravo to you, brother, for what you've done just in the short amount of time, the last 5 to 10 years, where you took 3 or 4 lions, not sheep, 3 simple words, turned it into not just a brand name, but you've turned it into like a movement. Because I literally, where was I the other day? I live here in San Diego, and I remember seeing a dude, older guy, kind of big, and he was wearing it, My wife and I were somewhere walking, and I just go, "Nice shirt, brother." He had one of yours. It was one of the simple ones, not the original black one, but it was a simple one. Lion's not cheap. And I was like, "Yep." And he had to stop and try. I'm like, "Yeah, man." And he was right on that he had that shirt on. And I'm just like, and again, I've seen the gals wearing the hats and the shirts, and I think you just started something so special. And we started talking about, I started here in August of 2020. You said you made that big viral video in March, and the lockdown was March 19th, 2020.
Yep.
And you probably came on then in the fall or winter of 2020 the first time, and we started chatting. And so now let's go from 2020, because in the last 5 years, you've gone through a lot, but you've also built a lot more. You've expanded more, and you've been more involved with a lot of things, whether it's fighting for Second Amendment or, you've just done so many things. You tell us, and I don't want to spoil it for everybody. Talk about the last 5 years.
No, it was great, man. I mean, we obviously had a huge target on our back, and anybody that's followed Lions Not Sheep realizes that we went through our debacle in 2022 with the FTC. We were playing by the rules. We were doing everything that we were supposed to. We were in compliance, and about mid 2020, we get this letter from the FTC, and they're like, "Hey, we're just making sure you guys are in compliance with all the regulatory issues and everything else." And to make a long story short, they had changed the rules on how you label clothing, right? And I mean, we were like, I was helping all of these other brands grow their companies, and we really exploded. I mean, to do $10 million in sales in such a short period of time, that's a lot in apparel. Like anybody that's ever built an apparel company realizes that's a big deal. Again, for a private company with no funding, no investors, like it's huge. And they ended up coming in, and it ended up being a huge deal. And the headlines went crazy. They were like, these guys are, ripping everybody off.
I remember you came on the show and we talked about it.
Oh,
You
my
were very
God,
honest about what happened. Yeah.
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And it was one of those moments where I was like, you know that you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. And no matter what happens, like somebody's going to have a problem with it, right? And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool experience for me as an owner and as a CEO, I came right online, what I've always done. I came right to the camera, sat down. I said, "Look, here's the deal. This is exactly what we're doing." Mm-hmm. And the irony of it is this, and I know you and I have talked about this, but back in 2020, there's actually a video, and it's still on my Instagram. It's still on the Lions Not Sheep Instagram, where I'm walking through our warehouse talking about how our whole business model. We buy these shirts. They're called tearaway tags. We tear off the tag. We put our own label in there. And this is 2 years before the FTC even hollers at us. But it was an interesting experience as a business owner to see how quick people are to jump to the tantalizing headlines. And this being in journalism.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a good copywriter, you're worth a lot of money because the copy is what gets everybody. Headline, Trump's a racist. And now everybody believes he's a racist.
Clickbait.
What did he say is racist? I don't know, but
red letters on Look at the interviews when they go ask these crazies. What's one thing he said? I don't recall.
Oh, my gosh.
So they did that to you. I remember that.
Thing.
They're like, Sean Whalen's a fake.
Everywhere.
He's a liar.
It was everywhere. And he's buying in sweatshops from China. And it was like, what in the hell? But it was cool because it showed me a lot as an owner and as an entrepreneur. And I'd been on this journey for a long time, and was really the first kind of big thing that had ever happened to any of my companies, right? But it was really educational for me. And believe it or not, I mean, we ended up on the front page of the Drudge Report, which Matt Drudge, and the Drudge Report's pretty freaking big. It's one of the biggest websites on the planet. And so it was like, it was cool because it allowed me to not just like practice what I preach, but to show people this game, to show people what entrepreneurialism is really like. I mean, when I went through my 13, 14 years ago, I didn't really have a big following. Well, now you've got millions of people watching. How do you navigate problems? Mm-hmm. How do you navigate storms? And I feel like the company did really well in doing that, and what we did and how we addressed it. And you would be absolutely blown away how many other apparel companies reached out to me, patriotic ones that reached out and they're like, "Dude, we're doing the same thing. Like, what do we do? Can we talk to your lawyers? Because we want to make sure we're doing it right," and the whole thing. Mm. And it just proved to me a lot too about our government and our system and how things work. But I really truly believe like that's one of the things that I've been given a gift of, is being able to face monumental challenges and figure out how to get to the other side. There's people that are still complaining about the market crashing in 2008. There's still dudes that are
I
licking
know.
their wounds. And I'm like, bro, what have you been doing for the last 15
No,
years?
I know people
Get
that I
back in the
lost
game,
it all
right?
back then, and they're like, I could never get it back.
Yeah. I'm
Well, what
like,
have you been
it's
doing?
15 years, bro. And
Yeah.
so I really feel like that's part of the Lions Not Sheep message is it's like, cool, you got your face kicked in, you lost millions of dollars, you went bankrupt, you got heartbroken, your wife left you, your husband left you. Like, now what?
Yeah.
How do you alchemize all of this stuff and keep moving forward when people are laughing at you, when people are mocking you, when people are lying about you, when you're facing like financial stress or emotional stress or spiritual or psychological stress? And I feel like for me, that's really been the gift of my life is I've been able to face a lot of really big challenges that would break most people. And I don't say that to be presumptuous, but there's a lot of people that I know that are still complaining about
Oh, me too.
2008.
No, I listen.
And I'm like, bro, you gotta put your big boy pants on and keep going. So I'm actually really grateful. I'm really grateful because it's made me the father that I am. It's made me the grandpa that I am. It's made me the man
Nice.
that I am to be able to navigate these storms. And now having a 22-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 16-year-old
Woo.
venturing out into the world to cut their own teeth, they've watched all this. They've seen it. They've seen me like
They've had to
get
see how their
smashed right
father
in the face.
responded to all these trials and tribulations.
Yep.
And so you've given them a pretty good roadmap and example of how.
Well, they've seen it.
Yeah,
They've been
they've
able to
seen it.
see it.
So
And I
that's
think
going
this
to give
is a
them so
powerful
much more
message for men.
empowerment, exactly, men and women, because you got
Right.
daughters, where if they run into it and they're going to face it, even though they're only teens
Right.
and 20s, you know they're gonna, and they're going to have to face a divorce, hopefully not. They're going to face a bankruptcy, hopefully not. They're going to face a firing at a job, hopefully not. But they've seen dad do it and come back from it. That's a great, great example, Sean. Good on you. Okay, so you had that little snafu and issue. I think you handled it well. You went out and you got in front of it. You came on my show. You went on your podcast. You went on social media and you said, here's what we've been doing. I told you we were doing this many years ago. The government said we were doing this. That's BS. Now let's move forward. Done. Okay. Now, in the last 3 years since 2022, and you got that out of the way, you still just keep going, keep growing. I see, again, the brand everywhere. I see the speeches everywhere. I know the podcast went on hiatus a bit, but you're bringing that back. What's new? What else you been up to that I don't know about, that I don't see on my device every day? Because usually you pop up at least once a day on my scrolling.
Yeah. Becoming a grandpa changed a lot for me. My grandson's eight months old now.
Nice.
You know, I weathered the storm with the apparel company. We made a bunch of shifts. We went from the huge warehouse, and I kind of brought us back to the origin and simplified the process. And you know, the apparel company's still there cranking along. I've still got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in my coaching group, which I absolutely love and really appreciate. But I bought a ranch. I bought 500 acres back in 2021, and
500.
that's really my passion. Yeah, we got 500 acres.
I keep seeing the videos of you in the barn, well, from the concrete to the big steel girders to the whatever, and on the four-wheelers and out there shooting with the fam and doing all the fun stuff. I bought 3 in California.
Yeah.
And I have a lot to take care of every day. You bought 500.
Well, 500, building my dream. I mean, it's literally like, I have to pinch myself sometimes because I realize like I'm literally living my dream. I had the vision of this when I was 21 years old, like having my own ranch and my own things and my own land, and now I have it.
Yeah.
And so I've really started to, I don't want to say slow down because I'm not slowing down. I mean, I have severe ADHD and I'm like, go, go, go. And I have my hands in a bunch of cookie jars and getting back into real estate and doing some real estate deals right now. But I'm really slowing down in the sense like I'm spending a lot more time there. I've always spent a lot of time with my kids and I'm very, very close to them. But I think I'm really starting to appreciate things in a way that I've never appreciated them.
That comes with age.
Yeah.
Comes with age, experience. I think we get more humbled after we go through these ups and downs of life.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to faith, man. When you start putting your trust in God and the Word, doors open up, things get so much better. You are a lot more peaceful and calm.
Yep.
And sometimes I can tell you, because I got it, my wife tells me every day almost, it can help with the ADHD, Sean.
Totally. But when
Go
I'm up
talk
on
to
my
him.
ranch,
Go
man,
talk to him.
and I'm on my four-wheeler and there's no one for miles and it's just me and my kids, nothing else exists. There's nothing else
Good for you.
that exists. And to me, that's exactly what I've spent 46 years of my life working for, is what I have.
Yeah.
And so I've really started to appreciate it. I mean, The apparel company's great. I'm having in conversations about potentially exiting one of my companies. I'm just in a really good place where it's like I'm very present. I'm really connected to my faith. I'm really connected to God. I'm really following that journey and that path.
Good for
I don't
you.
have anything to prove, man. I really have nothing to prove to anybody. I've made millions
No,
of dollars,
you
lost,
never
I've made
do.
it again.
Yeah, you never do.
I
That's
have
just
what I
worldly
want.
crap. It's worldly crap. And
Yeah.
let's be real. This stuff, even though this helped make you, let's be real.
Yeah.
And I got to use it every day. I'm in media, but let's be real.
Yeah.
This ain't the real world. All that hate and nonsense and BS, especially on X and elsewhere, where it's all
Yeah.
politics or it's about religion and different religions and color and race and genders that don't exist and all the crap that people are fighting. Sorry, I had to throw that in. All the stuff that's on here.
Yeah.
I love to throw it away. Man, when I get home, I make that 45-minute drive from the studios here near downtown San Diego, and I drive about 45 minutes, 30 miles to I won't say what town because I have psychos that want to kill me.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I love those death threats from those peace-loving liberal people. Anyway, that's who threatens me. I don't know who threatens you, but it's liberals that threaten me. So I make that drive, and, the wife and I are talking. We're still politics and this crap and everything else. But the minute I can get out of that car, go in, change the clothes, put the jeans and the flannel and the boots on, go out, hop on the quad, go see the dogs, go do something, fix something on the property, whatever, and tune all this noise and BS out. And then if I got an issue, talk to the big guy. That's life. You need God, your health, and your family. And I'll add one more, love of this country. And the rest of this crap, it's just crap.
It's irrelevant.
Sorry.
It's irrelevant.
It's nice. It makes life while we're on this rock easier.
Sure.
I'm not going to say it doesn't, but does it really matter? Because if you're dying, all the crap don't matter. If your kids are dying, that crap don't matter. If your problems with your family or what, that's what matters. The money, as you said, can come and go. The homes, the cars, the whatever. By the way, you get some sweet ones. I won't deny that. What manly man our age, around 50, doesn't like some sweet cars, some big homes, some cool trips, some big guns, and some fun? And so how about with these last few minutes, let's talk about what Sean Whalen, now that we got the background and the building of the man and the brand, what do you do for fun? What do you do to relax when you're hanging out? Are you out on the ranch all the time, shooting the guns, playing with Gunner the dog and the kids? Is that Sean Whalen's life these days now?
Yeah, Gunner's sitting right here.
Oh, yeah, where's Gunner?
Gunner, come say hi. Dude, I don't want this to sound cheesy or cliche. I love my life. What I do every day, I truly love. I get to be with people that I love. I get to do what I love for work. Mm-hmm. I get to go to my own property. I get to be with people that I want to be with. I don't have coworkers that I don't like. I don't have a job that I don't like. So for me, every day that I wake up really is something that I really enjoy. I love what I do. And I know it sounds hard for some people to understand this, but I understood this and got this quite a while ago where I'm I can make money doing what I love. And if I'm persistent enough, audacious enough, focused enough, and driven enough, I can make it reality. And so for me, every day is fun. I get to travel the world. I get to do literally whatever I want.
Well, that old cheesy phrase,
There's hard days.
If you love what you do, it's not work, right? It's not work.
I want people to really understand that, especially men. There's no one forcing you to do anything. There's no one forcing you to, I have bills. I have bills. Nobody gave me this house. Nobody's pays for the gas in my four-wheelers or pays for my cell phone or pays for my kids' hockey or whatever else. So I get it. But every single day, I get to do the I really love to do. And I've spent 46 years building this life and I'm living it. Yeah. I'm literally living it. And that's one of the things that I love about coaching is that I get to share all of these journeys and all of these lessons with people. How did I build social media? How did I build these businesses? How did I come back? What's the mindset of getting your face kicked in, having millions of people see you get publicly embarrassed in the whole thing and still show up the next day and keep building? How does that work?
Yeah.
How do you do that here? How do you do that here? So for me, I'm literally living the exact life that I want to.
I love that. So let's close out, if you don't mind. I want to give, especially the young men, and I would even say some middle-aged men, my age. Oh, hey,
you got to get one of these.
So
you got to get one of these.
Hey, I don't have mine. We don't allow pets in the ON studios, but I have two-year-old chocolate labs, English chocolate labs, big babies named Brew and Bear.
Yeah.
So if I get to Utah, I'll bring the boys and we'll run them on your ranch.
We'll love the ranch.
Yeah, I love my boys. But here's the deal. I would love, and now I'm going to ask you to give it away for free for the last 2 minutes of the show here, just some advice for young men trying to become an entrepreneur, or let's say a 51-year-old dude like me who maybe, let's say, and no, this isn't me, I'm just saying my age bracket, who's trying to reinvent themselves, who maybe lost it all, who had to do a BK, a divorce or whatever, and they're like, I'm 50, there's no way I'm going to make a comeback and make my million or make whatever your goal is. Give them some of that free lions, not sheep advice that you give during your speaking engagements that people pay a lot of money to go to and be part of your lion's den. Just give them some motivation, Sean, as we wrap things up. I hope that just hearing your story the last 50 minutes to an hour motivates them, but maybe they need a little kick in the pants. Give it to them.
There's a question that I want everybody to write these 4 words down. It'll change your life. What do I want? And it sounds so simple, man. I've asked millionaires this. I've asked billionaires this question. It's actually one of the hardest questions to answer. Not what your mom wants or what your church wants or what the world wants or what social media wants or what your boss wants or what your kids wants or what dad wants or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband or your wife. Like, what do you want? And this might take you a day. This might take you a year to answer. But like, one of the things that I think is absolutely beautiful about life is when you can get to a place where you can answer that question for you. That's true liberation. That's true freedom. Because most people, I wasn't raised with money. Like saying I want a lot of money. Oh, dude, you know, God, the Bible says, Sean, you got to read the Bible because the Bible talks about it. Now, you. Sorry, I don't know if we can swear on the show, but I did. You can beep it out.
Okay.
But listen, like, I'm being serious when I say this. Like, you and I are here because God put us here today. Not for the world, not for everybody else, not for anything else other than for you and I to have this sovereign experience of life. If you chose a partner, you got a partner. If you got kids, those are your kids. But God is literally inviting me and you to answer that question for us. And I really feel like that changed my life when I realized, like, I'm not living life for mom and dad. They're going to die and I'm still going to be here. And if I spend the next 30 years trying to impress them and make them happy and do what they want me to do, then I'm not doing what I want to do. And when you write those 4 words down, write it on your bathroom mirror and look at it every freaking morning as you're brushing your teeth. What do I want? I want a ranch. I want to travel the world. I want $1 million in my bank account. I want 6-pack abs. I want sex every day. I don't know what it is. But once you get like ruthlessly and crystal clear on what you want, then you go build it. Because the truth is, the answer to every one of those questions is already out there because somebody's already done it. I've already figured out how to go from being suicidal to not being suicidal. I've already figured out how to go from a single parent home to making millions of dollars. I've already figured out how to buy a 500-acre ranch. I've already figured a lot of these things out. And there's many, many, many people that are way further down the path than me, that are way more successful than me, that are way more jacked than me. But I really, truly believe this is the single greatest thing that we're facing as the biggest challenge of our lives is we're living for other people. We're doing and thinking and living based off of what this is telling us, what she's telling us, what he's telling us.
Well, and society's been telling men not to be men the last few years either, Sean. And you remind men to be men. And that's a message that needs to be out there, especially for the young ones.
I want a lot of money. I want to be jacked. I want sex every day. I want to be able to do whatever the hell I want.
That's why I like this guy.
That's what I really want. And I'm not going to water that down for anybody.
There you
Why
go.
would you? Like, God put you and me here today for a reason. Stop wasting time living for everybody else. Figure out what the hell you want. Get crystal clear on that, and then go get it.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it. Sean Whalen.
I don't know if you can swear or not. I should have asked you at the beginning, but this is,
that's okay. We have some new carriers. Yeah, they bleeped it, I'm sure, but that's okay. That's okay. Guess what? That's one of my vices that I have to work on as well.
What if it's not a vice?
And my
They're exclamation points. It's how you accentuate your passion.
I know. And
ask Gary Vee about this.
A lot of studies in the last few years show that people that use curse words are more honest and more passionate and more real people. So I get that as Christians, we're not supposed to use curse words. However, down here, to make a point and to prove you're real and you're being honest and you accent. I mean, look, the President of the United States just the other day
he dropped the F-bomb the other day. I love that. I was like, yes,
You know
that's
what he
my
was doing?
guy.
He was telling that jerk off from, what was it, Colombia or Venezuela, one of them that are both owned by the drug cartels, don't, pretty much FAFO. You mess with America, there you go. Anyway, we're running out of time. Sean, thank you so much, brother, for jumping on. I know, look, time is money, and you gave me an hour. So thank you. Check out Lion's Den. That's his motivational speaking wing of his companies. He's got, obviously, the merch, Lions Not Sheep. Get something. It's awesome gear. And then people will know exactly where you stand when you're walking in a room with one of those on. Sean, God bless you, brother. Hope everybody is well. You take care. I'll talk to you offline soon. Yep. See you. Cheers. Yep. All righty. How about them apples? That was a good one.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean.
We'll talk soon, man.
Will do. As we wrap things up here, folks, got to remind you, big thanks to another clothing brand that helps keep this show on the air, Grunt Style. All veteran owned, all veteran operated. Couldn't do the show without my friends at Grunt Style. So big thanks to Grunt Style. And as always, as we wrap up, big thanks to the Herring family and the Herring Family Network for putting on not only 24 hours of amazing news and talk shows, but allowing us this extra show every week, the Anchorman podcast. Check out my show. It's 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. You got my counterpart, Riley Lewis, who's on at 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. And then I'm followed up, of course, by Matt Gates and Chanel Rion. And then we have news all the other hours. We just launched also this week, and I think it's going to be airing right about the time we're on right now, Friday night here, the John Sally, the Best Darn Sports Show. I know you know that guy. If you're a sports nut, he's got 4 NBA rings? Yes, John Sally himself has come to One America News to bring his Best Darn Sports Show, and that launches this weekend right here on the OAN Network. So many great things to check out. These podcasts are always posted to X, Rumble, and YouTube, I believe, so you can check us out there. And anything that you want to learn about the OAN Network, just go to the website. It's that easy. It's OANN.com. You can download the app and watch us, plus you have videos on demand. We are also now, as of this year, on Dish, Sling TV, Spectrum, and we're coming up with a whole bunch of more carriers, so keep your eyes out for One America News. We are growing, and we are building back, bigger and better than ever. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you. See you next week.
Want to see more great videos like this? Click on the link below to subscribe to OAN Live and watch Dan Ball's Real America and The Matt Gaetz Show on Dish Channel 212. Tune in, subscribe, and watch today.